Well, welcome all to our event, Get More Eyes on Your Work. Today, during the events, we will try to talk about a series of ways that you can have more engagement with your audience during a series of different activities, whether that's an art fair or gallery exhibition or so on. And we'll try to show you guys also some of the tools that we built on Imprimo to really help you tell the story behind your work in a very engaging way. So before I dive into my quick presentation on some of the new things that came out on Imprimo and show you how you can use this, I'll go over a series of different activities that we think is important. So over the last year and a half, we've talked with hundreds of artists, and we've realized that some of the really important elements for many, especially the emerging artists, would be the art fair, which certainly makes a big part of their journey to get exposures, or galleries exhibition, whether that's a process of applying for the exhibition or having your work into the exhibition, and all kinds of different activities. So Lisa is going to go over a series of different things that you can try to get some more eyes on your work. But at my end, I will kind of address some of these challenges that I've heard from many of the different artists that we've talked to, and how Imprimo might be able to help you solve some of these challenges. So starting with some of the first few ones, whether that's during an art fair or during a gallery exhibition. So what we've heard, especially on the art fair side of things. So recently, the members of our team has attended a series of different art fair in Toronto. And we heard a lot from the people who were attending there, whether they're other art lovers or collectors. I really like the idea of coming and being able to get some FaceTime with the artists, learning about their journey, learning about the material that they use, learning about the different processes, the emotional relationship that they have with the work. And those comments are perfectly in sync with what we've heard during our interview process with collectors. The story behind the artwork is just as important as the artwork itself. It is a massive part of art, and that story is not always easy to know. So if you look at a place like an art fair where there'll be lots of people coming through, you might be talking with somebody and you may not be able to share that story with as many people as you would like to. So today I'll show you a few different tools that we've built to help you share that story, especially in places that are very crowded and where you may not have the time that you would like to spend with everybody. When looking at the gallery, it's a bit of the same thing. We've heard from many artists that when they get busy at the gallery, they might start talking with an art collector, and they can see a lot of people who are looking at their artwork. They'd like to engage in conversation, and sometime by the time they're done this conversation, the person has left and they weren't able to make that connection. So the first few things I'll talk is on those 2 points, and then we'll address some other kind of challenges that we touch. So I will start by sharing my screen. For those of you who've never seen Imprimo before, you might see it for the first time. We highly encourage you, if you're not a member yet, join us at imprimo.ca. The first 90 days are free. You can come and try the platform. If you need some help, info at imprimo.ca. We'd be glad to help you build your profile, answer any questions you may have. And once again, if you want to come and try Imprimo, your first 90 days are free. So I will now share my screen and share you a little bit about Imprimo. So this is Imprimo. This is what it looks like when you log into Imprimo and you get onto your profile. So what we've heard from many artists is when it came time to create your profile, it took some time to build the artwork. So we realized that we needed to make it easier for you to be able to upload your artwork. So we got this button now that is here, bulk upload. You click on the bulk upload button. This menu appears. You can select to upload the bulk upload. You select the images that you want, and you click open. It will load your different images, and with one button, all of a sudden, all your different artworks have been added. You can add as much as 100 at a time, which makes it much easier and much faster for you to come and upload your work. If you decided you want to delete those work, there's a little garbage can in the corner here where you can come and delete the work. Now, when we start looking at, like I said, the galleries or the art fair, one of the main comments was, I would like to be able to share the story behind my work with as many people as possible. And this starts by making it easy to share this. So you have all those artworks, they're beautiful, and people would like to know more about the piece, would like to know more about the story behind it, would like to know more about your journey as an artist. And this is why we created these QR codes. So when you look onto your artwork records, I'll do this again for those who might have missed this. So you go under my artwork, You click on artwork record, and here in the top corner, we have those QR codes that are automatically generated. You simply have to click on this button, the QR code appear, and then you're able to come and print them. The use case for this is whether you're at an exhibition or you are at an art fair, simply having the QR code next to the artwork allows the viewers to come, scan the QR code, and then go on the artwork and see the full provenance events associated to it. I'll show you here with my artwork, and then I'll show you from an artist who has a much more in-depth profile than mine, obviously, because I'm not an artist. So if I click on the preview page here, which you can do on all your different artwork, this is what the users are going to be able to come and see. They can see the full detailed artwork record, see who the creator is, and so on. But now let me show you what it would look like from someone who has a bit of a more in-depth profile than myself. Go with my friend Patty here. And Patty has this beautiful artwork here. So during an exhibition, you can imagine the magnitude of this piece that we're looking at here. There's a lot to look at. There's obviously a lot of work that was invested into this, and there's a lot to know. So you land on the artwork record, you scan the QR code. I can see this massive piece I'm very intrigued about. I can come on the profile while I'm looking at it, see some more close-up view of this, which might pique my curiosity. I might want to get a bit closer to see what those different elements are. And very quickly, I can see what the artwork is available for, right? And I can see what the metadata associated with this. And right here in the corner, I can come and select and send a message to Patty to learn more. What we've heard from artists who've been using the QR code is a few things. Number one, when using their profile, there's a headshot here. So people are able to know who you are. So maybe you're close to your booth, but you're talking to somebody else and they're not really sure who you are, who the artist is. And this really kind of helps identify who you are. Therefore, if they want to come and talk to you, they're able to do so. It was surprising to see that many artists, when it comes to especially the gallery exhibition, there's no real photo of who they are. There's their name, and they may be completely a different place in the gallery and not be able to be identified. So that's been one of the big plus. But even more surprisingly, many of the artists who've used the QR code said, I actually receive a lot of messages through the app. And when I start talking to these different art lovers, what I've heard is that they may have not felt comfortable to approach me face to face. They might have been shy, but they were quite intrigued about my work. They wanted to know more. And now there's a way for them to come and communicate with me in a very easy way without initially having to get out of their comfort zone and approach a stranger, which may or may not be something that they're comfortable with. Then when you look at the profile, you have the creation story. This is where you share the different material, the process that you use. You can use videos, images, documents, and it really shares the emotional relationship that you have with the work, and really that story that you might won't be able to tell to a handful of people, you're now able to share with every single person who scanned the QR code. And then here you have the artwork timeline that allows to show the different provenance event associated with this work, different images of the different galleries exhibition. They can see that evidence has been provided, so they can feel comfortable that these events here are real and this has really happened, and able to dive more into the different type of event. So this journey here that we've built with the artwork record was to have a very engaging view of the artwork, not only online, but also during physical exhibition. Because you might be during the exhibition, you see this artwork, you think it's absolutely beautiful, you like what you see, and the first thing you want to know is, I'd like to know more. I'd like to know why Patty created this. I like to know what the inspiration is behind this. I wonder how long it took him to make these things. And this is where he can come and you can learn a lot more about the different things and then inquire Patty directly to ask your questions. So this allows you to take the communication that you'd be able to have with a few and share it at mass with a lot of people. So the QR code, even though is no kind of new technologies, we didn't invent this. We tried to make it very easy, right? What we've heard from artists who are using the QR code, the process of going to an exhibition or having an art fair is quite overwhelming. You have a lot of things to prepare. You have a lot of different, you have to get ready for the event. There's a lot of things to think of. And even though they may have used the QR code before, this is one of those things that you totally tend to forget. You wait till the last minute, and then you're just like, oh, I just forgot, and then you move on with it. Now, in just a matter of a few clicks, you can press the button, and then you are able to print it. I would ask that everybody can be on mute if you don't mind. It's very distracting to sound. All right. Okay, so this is what one of the things I wanted to show. So using the QR code during art fair, during gallery exhibition, it is a really easy tool. Simply click there and it drives significantly more engagement, and it really allows you to share your story in depth with a lot of people. So now we've talked about how to make the most of these different exhibitions. Whether it's an art fair, whether it's a gallery. Now let's talk about the process of applying for an exhibition. So when we talk with a lot of different artists, they said that, part of building my career as an artist, there's this call for artists that is always demanding and requires me to write my artist statement. It requires me to amass a certain body of work that fits them, the requirements that they have, and then I also have to have a CV, which sometimes looks like a 2-page, 3-page, 5-page, 10-page, different kind of formats, and it's really time consuming, and it's a process that takes the artists away from what they really like doing, which is spending time in their studio making art. So we wanted to make that very easy for the artists to be able to apply for different kind of events. We're working with a series of different galleries and granting bodies to try to adapt the system that we're making as a way to make it easy for the artists to share their profile. But let me show you quickly what I mean by this. So when you built your profile and you have a premium account, you can now have your custom URL. As you can see here, my full name, .imprimo.ca. When you type this, you'll land on my profile, which kind of looks like this. And then very quickly, you're able to see who I am, a little bit about my biography. This is probably where your artist statements would be. In this corner here is kind of like your billboard. If you have any exhibition, if you have any upcoming events, publication, awards that you win, this is probably where you want to list this. This should be very dynamic over the course of your career. That should continue to evolve. And very quickly, you have the same message box and then able to redirect your audience over to different social channel. As far as the gallery application, very quickly they can see who you are. We'd say I would encourage you to use this here as the cover image to showcase you into your studio, so it brings a little bit more to life, but really using this section for your artist statement. And that is that for your profile. Now, the second part was really to come and to create a certain collection or a certain body of work that you may want to present for this specific application, but it may not be how you want to present your work, whether that's a certain type of landscape that they're asking for, and you may or may not be looking to present your work like that on your public profile. So we've created these things which are semi-private collection. Semi-private collection. I will just show you guys quickly how easy it is. You come to the collection section, you click on add collection, you put in a name, you put the description associated with the body of work that you have, and then you click add collection. When that's done, you click on add artwork. You'll select the different artwork that you want to add here, and then you are done. You go to the description section, and you'll have a few options here. So there's a few different use cases you can have. As you can see here, it says only me. The best use case for only me, or only, it's private to me, it means that's probably the best way to come and archive your work. Whatever you want to organize your work within your profile by year, by team, by all kinds of different things, you're able to come and archive your work. And you may want to put it by year and by team, which means that you'll be able to recycle the same images in different folders, which really helps you to be organized. We've heard from many artists that when it comes time to get to organizing their artwork, it's not always easy. The paperwork's a bit everywhere, and we want to make it very easy to come and organize all your things on Imprimo. And that's really a lot of the value of the private collection. When it comes to public collection, I think that's pretty straightforward. This is how you want to go and share your artwork, whether those are series or different kind of collections. I'll show you a few from different artists after on what it looks like, but that's what the public collection is. And then finally, we have the semi-private link here, which this is where you're able to use if you want to share a certain body of work with a gallery or a certain granting body or so on, but you don't necessarily want to have this publicly shared with everybody. You can simply copy this link. You come and you open your tab, you share the link with them, and they'll be able to access these different images. Did not work out. Let's try this again. Probably didn't click the button. So here's a reminder, you gotta press save. All right, let's try this one more time. All right, so when you type the link, you're able to come, you see the collection. Here is where you would see a short description of the collections you have, and then they're able to access a different type of work. When they click on the work, they'll be able to see the artwork. These artwork are not published, meaning they're not publicly visible. However, with the link, you're able to come and to learn more about the artwork. So the value here is really making it easy to apply for grant. We have the link for the profile. We have the link quickly for the collections that allows you to apply. And now we're down to the last step, which is, very often creating a CV that fits the different application process. So when you come on Imprimo, you're able to build your CV, but the CV, what we've heard is that there's all kinds of different requirements. You'll have one for an art fair, you'll have one 2-page, 3-page, 5-page, one for grant submission, and so on. You have different needs for different application, and we want to make it easy. So when you click on the Add Custom CV, you'll come in, you'll create the name, and bam, that's done. You have the button here that says reorganize the categories. I might want to have my publication on top of my solo exhibition, for example. And once I'm done, I can see the different events that are here. And I may say, well, I'm not too sure that I want to have this event here and this event showing on my CV. I simply click the hide button, and then it's going to disappear from my CV. Once I'm ready, I click the download button. I can download in a Google Doc, sorry, in a Word doc or in a PDF. The Word doc allows you to come and have further customization when it comes time to download. So in just a matter of a few clicks, you're able to create a custom CV that fits the needs of your application. You take the link for your collection, you take your custom CV you just created, and the link for your profile, and then you have a lot of the element that you might need for the application. There might be some other things that you need, but the goal here was really to make it easier for you guys to be able to go through this process and limit the administrations that is associated with it. Now, one more thing that I want to touch on, because I talk with artists very often, and we often hear that they're not aware of this. I know I mentioned often on these calls, some of you might be new. So we have this certificate button that are here. It's automatically generated. You simply click on it, and then you're able to have these certificates, which are highly professional, that are generated automatically. So when it comes at time of sale, or if you're going from gallery to gallery, and you want to make it easy for them to access the provenance data that you've added on Imprimo, you can affix this in the back of the artwork as it moves from gallery to gallery or from buyer to buyer. And then the audience is able to come and learn about all the different metadata associated with your work. And then there's the QR code, which once again, when you scan, sends you over to the artwork record, where they're able to learn everything there is to know about the artwork, the creation story, the process, the timeline, the provenance event, and so on. The other good part for this is, in many cases, and I've seen that already when looking at some of the artwork that we had in our office, or talking to many people, when it comes time for the piece to leave the primary market and enter the secondary market, I sold, as an artist, an artist sold the piece to me, and then I want to go and I want to sell it to my aunt. When my aunt purchased it, maybe there's documentation that comes with it. Most likely there isn't. In many cases, we're lucky if the name of the artist follows, even less the name of the piece or its provenance. So now with this certificate of creation, it's very easy. They get access to this, they scan the QR code, and they have access to the full story, the same story that the artist would have said in the primary market when they sold the piece directly to the first collector. So that was a bit of the idea of the certificate of creation, is to help the story continue and being shared as the piece changed from hand to hand, or to simplify the access to the provenance as the piece changed from gallery to gallery. So I am going to pause here. I'm going to answer a few questions on these different processes or features that I just touched on before we dive into our presentation with our guests. Okay, so there's one of the question here is, I've been out of the loop lately, am I able to add videos to my work? That's actually a great question. So the answer is yes. And let me show you a series of different examples. So I will show you what Benedict did here, which I think is really great. I'd like to see more people do that. So when he went to his creation story, he took a minute and then he created this video where he comes and he explained to us his process. And he tells us a bit more about the process and how he went about this and the story. This is ultra engaging, especially if I'm using the QR code to learn that story. That's one of the options that you have here. If I go back to Patty's work here, where he has a video of the exhibition itself, where you're able to come and to see the different views. So you're able to come and add a series of different videos, whether that's in the creation story like I showed you here, or if it's on the artwork timeline. Those are some of the options. You're actually also able to come and to add an artwork itself as a video. The video has to reside on YouTube or Vimeo. You use the URL, and then you're able to use this. Now, I say you're able to use it as a video because it is images or videos. You can't have both, but you actually have the ability to add video as an artwork. We've seen many more people use it, like Patty and Benedict has done on the creation story or on the artwork timeline. But yes, you're able to add videos. You use the YouTube link or the Vimeo. If you need some help, info@imprimo.ca. We'd be happy to help you. Bulk upload, I needed that. So many people told us they needed that. It really helps accelerate the process. So I got somebody here who says that can I go a bit slower? This event's recorded, so if you have some questions or you want to see it again, it'll be on YouTube. We'll send it to everybody. You can have a look at it and kind of take your time as slowly as you need. If you need some help, again, info@imprimo.ca. We'd be happy to help. Couple questions here. Do galleries feel threatened by the QR code? Show gallery wall exclusive? To be honest, I don't think so. I think it's great because the galleries have the ability to, so let's just say you're managed exclusively by a gallery. They can come and manage your profile in Imprimo. This wouldn't be an option. As an artist, you're also able to have the communication being sent directly to them. Therefore, it's enhancing the experience for them. They don't have to do anything. They just kind of come. They can either you built your profile or they help you build your profile, and then they're able to get the messaging directly. So it allows them to have a broader reach without having to have more staff on the floor having that communication. And again, some people are simply not comfortable, approaching people. They want to do this themselves. They want to look at it. They want a self-serve model where they're able to send the messages. So I think that, using the QR code is in everybody's benefit. We're not a marketplace. You can't buy anything on Imprimo. We're certainly not a competition to them. I think we're a great tool for them. The CV says, can the CV category, can they be hidden like events? Yes, everything can be hidden. You can create a master CV that has all your different events, and then you can come in and you can add or hide any type of events that you would like. Again, you can, in your master CV, you can do that, and you can also do that on each subset as you see fit. So your main CV is the one that's going to be displayed on Imprimo, and then the custom CVs are the ones that you'll be able to use to download for a different type of event. Any more questions? Thoughts on NFT. So I will make the same. We get this question all the time. We have an event. We have a video on YouTube. If you look on YouTube and you put in Imprimo, there's a video on NFTs. I think it's worth for you guys to watch it. I will make that very simple. NFTs, in my personal opinion, can be an amazing tool, but that's something you should initiate yourself. It should not be somebody else who asks you to do it. You should do your homework. You should do it for the right reason, and you should really take the time to make that decision. It can be a great tool if used right. If you're getting someone messaging on Instagram and saying, I want to buy your work as an NFT, there's a lot of chance you're about to be scammed. So I would stay real far away from that. And I would say, if you want to do NFTs, there's lots of people that can help answer some of these questions. We have videos here. We're happy to answer some questions, but that's a decision that you should initiate yourself, you should make the right decision. You should inform yourself, and you should not rush that process. It can be a great tool, but the likelihood of a stranger messaging you on Instagram asking you to buy NFTs or to create NFTs for you, I would say it's probably a spam. And in the time I've been working at Imprimo, I have spoke with hundreds of artists who are getting these requests, and I can count on one hand how many of them has actually sold NFTs through that method. So I would say, don't fall for that. NFTs can be great, but it should be initiated by yourself. But again, if you got questions, have a look at our YouTube channel. There's a lot of really amazing information on that, and then we'd be happy to do some more events on that. But I think it's worth a look. So here I have a question. I have quite a few exhibitions in my bio. Is there a way to copy them as a group from my web as in group? Is there a way to copy them as a group from my website? I'm not 100% sure I understand your question, but you can certainly copy the information on your website and really easily paste it on Imprimo when you create the exhibition. It's really, if you do copy paste, it's a matter of a handful of seconds. It's not going to take you 60 seconds to replicate an event on your CV from different exhibitions, where it's on CV on your timeline. It's all templated, very easy. The galleries are pre-populated for you. The information is very easy to enter. If you already have the information anywhere, matter of copy paste, and you'll have all your exhibition on your CV within a matter of minutes. Would Imprimo artists like to do a show in New York area one day? Well, that's a great question for the community. If they like to do a collective show, certainly something we can run as a survey and see what the interest is of people here. Now, any last question before I introduce our special guest, Liza, the curator on the go, to give us her talk. All right. Well, with that, I will welcome Liza. Liza, I need to make you a co-host if I want you to be able to share your screen. So let me do that now, and then you can come.
Perfect. Thank you, JD, for having me tonight. And hello, everyone. My name is Liza, and I'm a curator and art advisor based in Toronto. I've been working with artists since 2015, so for the last 8 years, helping them with all the different aspects of being a creative artist, from social media to business advice to exhibition curation. So I'm excited to give a talk today. And when I first saw the theme for today, get more eyes on your work, the first question I got right away is, as an artist, as a creative, what is your ideal goal of selling? Do you want to sell yourself, and this is how you want to go about working and selling your works, or you're seeing yourself being more a gallery represented artist, or maybe a hybrid? So you want to sell on your own and you want to have a gallery representation. So I think this should be your first foundational question, from where you will decide, this is my marketing strategy, this is my business strategy, and this is the way how I need to get more eyes on my work. So in terms of getting more eyes on the works, there are so many different ways. And again, it will be determined on the way how you want to sell your works. I think I wrote down a couple of steps before even talking about like social media and reaching out to galleries, of how I will step back and look at your art practice right now, and questions I will ask to any artists listening. And hopefully you will make some notes, and this talk will be very helpful. Feel free to ask questions in the comments. I know we will have a question and answer period at the end, but I'm also happy to answer questions throughout the talk and have a more engaging conversation, because I'm here to help you and hopefully give as much information and help you out. So in terms of selling your works, working on your own is doable these days, especially after the last 3 years, after the pandemic. We saw how social media powerful, how you can sell. And I myself, I have an online gallery. I've been selling really, really well through social media. And for me, it was also a very great channel to make connections, to stay in contact with my collectors. And many of them, no matter how old they are, I have collectors who are like in their 50s, they still use Instagram from time to time, who will follow the gallery more on Instagram versus on the newsletters, for example, because we always think about, oh, the newsletter is one of the best way to get more eyes on my works. Yes, and I've personally sold works through newsletters too, but still I think Instagram is one of the best ways to get more collectors and art professionals look at your works. Also, if you're interested to work with galleries, galleries still look at social media. They want to make sure that as an artist, you're active, meaning you don't need to post every day. You need to have a strategy of how you present your works, but it's more about do you share your story, how you talk about your work. If the gallery wants to accept you into their roster, do they feel confident that your storytelling and the way you present yourself aligns with how they present their works on social media and online? So it's more about, like, think about as a gallery owner, your collector will probably gotta go and check the artist's website. They will check artist's Instagram. And do they feel confident? Then the client will say, yes, I really love the personality. I really like the way the artist present himself. I feel confident buying his or her works through the gallery. If your Instagram is not that developed, galleries really want you to help them these days, even though the clients, they do a lot of like marketing and they reach out to clients. A lot of galleries have a big client list. They still want a little bit of a help from you as an artist, and social media is usually the best way. So also another very important point to think about even before trying to reach out your potential clients is your branding and how you present yourself, whether it's on social media, on your website, or even when you meet someone in person. I feel like during the pandemic, we all stayed home, and many of us prefer these days to still stay active on Instagram and not meet too many people in person. But it's really important. Like, I feel like we're losing this personal connection. And if you can go beyond Instagram and meet a collector, like invite them to come to your studio, or even say like, oh, if you will be like going in the area, would you like to meet for coffee? Because I know a lot of collectors these days would love to meet artists, whether you can invite them to the studio or not. And in terms of branding itself, like branding is such a broad term, but how you want to be seen, why you're creating your works, why you're creating this specific and work in this specific genre, why you are raising this specific questions. So there are a lot of whys to this question, but also one thing that a lot of artists they don't focus on enough, I would say, is including the client into the conversation. Like, why I am creating this for my clients. What are they gonna get when they buy my works? Is it a specific feeling you wanna share with them, or it's specific, I don't know, moment in your life, your experience, you want someone else who went through the same experience like resonate with your piece and share the same, I don't know, hobby, trip, memory. So there should be this little hook or connection of how people will fall in love with your works. Another point to branding is how you want, obviously, people remember you. And if someone is in the room and they talk about you, what are the things they will say? Because, for example, if someone will say to me, do you know the work by, for example, I don't know, Sarah Smith? And if I don't know, like the name doesn't ring a bell, there is no other elements they remember from that artist. It's really hard if you don't, like, if you're not in the industry, to know everyone and remember every style. So I think if you can have a specific story attached to your art practice, whether it's your personal experience or maybe, again, the issue you're raising with your work, there should be something memorable that will help more people remember you, share it with everyone else, with their friends, because the word of mouth, I think it's one of the most powerful marketing tool. It's really, really helpful if you want to sell, especially on the local level where you are, where you can meet people. So for example, we have an artist here in Toronto, his name is Peter Triantos. And if someone says, do you know that artist who paints jelly beans? And a lot of people will right away say, oh, I know exactly who you're talking about. So it can be like literally a style that you're painting, or it can be maybe like, remember that artist who wears those like crazy big glasses, and she wears them to every show, and this is like a signature piece. So I think branding and thinking about how you present yourself is really, really important. Also, understanding who your audience is very important. When talking about this question, is my audience more local or international? Is my audience more people who buy through galleries, or those are the people who are maybe, let's say, more design oriented, and they prefer to work with designers and shop directly from artists? There are, again, so many different ways of how you can sell your works. So understanding to whom you can sell and through what channels will really define how and where you can promote your works. But in terms of the places, like aside from traditional galleries and exhibitions, the most obvious one is art fairs. Those are a very great ways for you to meet clients directly. And I know a lot of galleries also very happy when their artists show their works, because you bring attention to your practice, and many gallery owners will go to those fairs to support their artists. They will promote it on their social media. So if you have that relationship with the gallery, that's amazing. I know there will be some galleries more on a higher level where you have exclusivity and you can only produce works for their solo exhibition that will be hosted in those galleries. But again, it all depends on the level you are right now and the level you're looking for. You don't need to work with galleries all the time if it's not what you're looking for. Social media, I think we can talk for hours and hours and hours of how you can present your work. It's very personal, to be honest with you. And what works for me, for example, works for your friends, artist friend, might not work for you. So you have to make sure that you understand, for example, which days you should post on, what works for you, how many times, because it all comes with trial and error, to be honest with you, and understanding with your type of work, like how many people, what people are clicking on. Is it more about the videos? And yes, it's more about the videos these days. And don't feel discouraged that you might get 50 likes or 10 likes on your recent post, because to be honest with you, first and foremost, your post will be promoted for 2 days, I think, at least. So you will get more likes over time versus just the first day. And you just need to be very consistent and know what you're presenting and how you're presenting. Another good way to get more eyes on your works is donating your works to really good auctions, especially if they're for a really nice cause that resonates with you. This year, I've been attending 2 so far, and they were really amazing. And most of them, majority of them usually work with galleries, but from time to time, there will be an opportunity for you to donate as an artist working on your own. And there are so many, so you just have to be very wise and making sure that it's a good auction. It's been happening for a number of years. You don't want to donate to something that is totally new. You also want to maybe ask artist friends around, especially if you know who participated in those auctions before, and see what are usually the pieces go for. Recently, unfortunately, there is a trend going on in Canada that those auctions prices, pieces will be sold for for values that are below the value of the piece itself. This is unfortunate, but at least you're, again, supporting the costs and you're putting your name in front of industry people. There are a lot of gallery owners going to those auctions. There will be a lot of interior designers, art consultants, business owners. There's usually a big variety of people going to the auctions. It's also a good way for people to start building their collection. From there, a lot of people will go either to galleries later or to artists directly to continue building their collection. So it's not only you're just donating something for free, you're starting a conversation. And it's also a great place for networking. So there's an opportunity for you to go and be part of the event, network, make connections. Like it's golden. Other good opportunities that sometimes can work, sometimes cannot work, is working with local real estate agents. There are a lot of sales happening every day, and a lot of them need artworks for their staging, for taking photos before even they release the house or a condo for sale. So most of the time they will work with art consultants and reach out and say, do you have any piece for rental? So if you're in the mood to rent your pieces, and always charge real estate agents and anyone who asks you for rentals, you always need to have a fee to give you a percentage. Usually the industry percentage is 10% per month of the value of your artwork. So if someone wants to get it, no matter how many days, if they rent it for 2 days, 5 days, you still will charge them for a month. Always have a contract in writing. Make sure that you have a line there that if something happens to the piece, this person or this company will be responsible. Recently, just to share a little bit of an experience, I work at Boshi Gallery in Toronto. We had a film company renting 5 pieces for their shoot, and they returned 5 pieces. One of them got damaged. So they had to acquire that piece, and they totally were aware of what is happening. But again, understand that things happen, and sometimes a client can damage a piece. If you can repair it, if you can restore it, that's great. You will charge the client for the materials and the time for you to restore a piece, or they will have to acquire it. But it's still another good way for you to make an extra couple of $100, depending again on the prices you have, as well as to have professional photos that you can use on your website, on your Instagram, and make some connections. Another good way is when we think about exhibiting works, where else aside from white cube gallery walls can we exhibit the pieces? Pre-pandemic, I was renting out local venues, totally just event spaces. They have white walls, empty spaces where you can come in and do whatever you want, more like a pop-up spaces. So if you are an artist who have like a good following, you're active on Instagram, you have like clients that you can invite to an event, you don't always need to find a gallery to exhibit your works. You can rent out a space, and then it can be for a day, it can be for a weekend, depending on your budget, and just create a pop-up exhibit where you will release a collection or bring whatever inventory you have, and just have a nice party, reception opening, and stay there and connect to people. Especially if you don't have a studio where you can invite people, doing something like this maybe like once a year or so is a great opportunity to keep engaged with your collectors in person. If you have a good following list and collector list locally where you are. Usually prices will depend on the location. I know even some galleries will provide their spaces for rental. There, again, you already have the setting, the lights, the walls. Keep in mind that rental is one fee. You will also need labor. You will need probably spend some money on the reception itself, but it's all worth it. And lastly, I think another good way for you to get more eyes and more places where to display your works will be collaborating with local businesses. There are so many. And when I say this, maybe you think right away, oh, she's talking about another coffee shop. No, you don't need to approach another coffee shop. There are so many other businesses that can be a great fit to the artworks that you're creating. It can be maybe like a luxury hair salon, or a clothing store, a luxury clothing store. And you can come in and say, like, I have a body of work. You have the walls. I would love an opportunity to have like a pop-up display. This will bring like clients to your space who can also shop and support local business, you and myself. You can also share like 10-15% commission with them. And just, again, have another exhibition opportunity beyond just a gallery, especially if you're not working with the gallery anymore. So you have to be active, I would say, like as a summary. Find a social media platform where you will be active. It can be Instagram, and I think this is one of the best platforms still and will be. TikTok, it might work for you, might not work. It's a lot of work. If you like videos, why not? Like, I've seen artists really getting lots of views on TikTok. But again, it's very, very personal. And then make sure that your website is always up to date. You want to make sure that it's not too salesy. I would say if you will be interested to work with gallery, make sure that it's not looked at as come and buy, like you're always asking people to buy, like available, this and that. If you're interested to work with galleries, you need to make sure that it's more profile oriented or like portfolio oriented, more works, more about myself. And then always make sure that in your Instagram, you mention that, like, learn more on my website. So you want traffic to go to your website too. No matter whether you have like e-commerce website or not, there are ways for clients to contact you.